I'm Dr. Robert F. Mullen, and welcome to Session 5 of our series on proactive neuroplasticity. Now, in this video, we're going to focus on the trajectory of our self-destructive thoughts generated by our disorder and by life experiences, thoughts that impact our emotional well-being and quality of life. Now, to fully comprehend the most effective means of challenging our negative self-beliefs and image, we need to define a couple of items. A situation is the set of circumstances, the facts, conditions, and incidents affecting us at a particular time in a particular place. So for social anxiety disorder, situations are the places that generate discomforting anxiety or stress such that it impacts our emotional well-being. Examples range from restaurants and the classroom to the job interview and social event, to the elevator, even to restrooms. Automatic negative thoughts, or ANTs, are the involuntary anxiety-provoking emotions or images that occur in anticipation of or reaction to the situation. They are unpleasant expressions of our fears and apprehensions. They're manifestations of our irrational self-beliefs about who we are and how we relate to others and the world and the future. They are our predetermined assumptions of what will happen to us in a situation. And they can elicit an endless feedback of hopelessness, worthlessness, and undesirability, leading to substance abuse, eating disorders, severe anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. ANTs are cognitively distorted emotions that can lead to maladaptive behaviors. Cognitive distortions are the exaggerated or irrational thought patterns involved in the onset or perpetuation of anxiety and depression. They are the thoughts that cause us to perceive reality inaccurately. See, we all engage in cognitive distortions, and we're usually unaware of doing so. Cognitive distortions reinforce or justify our negative thinking and behaviors. We convince ourselves that these false and inaccurate thoughts and reactions are the truth of a situation. Cognitive distortions define our automatic negative thoughts. Common complaints like, everyone will reject me, or no one will like me, are distorted and irrational statements. We jump to conclusions or think life is unfair or personalize things that have nothing to do with us. We filter out all the positive things that happen to us and only focus on the negative. This self-destructive thinking goes hand in hand with social anxiety, depression, substance abuse, and other disorders. Maladaptive behaviors means we adapt to situations badly or wrongly. In psychology, experts present two forms of behavior, adaptive and maladaptive. Adaptive behavior is behavior that is positive and functional, and maladaptive behaviors are dysfunctional behaviors uniquely characteristic of social anxiety disorder. They distort our perceptions and we adapt negatively to positive situations. If the room is sunny and welcoming, social anxiety disorder tells us it is dark and unapproving. Now, automatic negative thoughts, or ANTs, are irrational, cognitively distorted, and self-destructive. And to challenge them, we need to interrogate them to understand their origins and structure. Why do we have these self-destructive thoughts, and where do they come from? See, without a clear inventory of the causes and consequences of our negative thoughts and behaviors, we do not have a chance of defeating them. They originate with our core beliefs. And core beliefs are determined by our childhood physiology, heredity, environment, informational input, experience, learning, and early relationships. Negative core beliefs are generated by any childhood disturbance that interferes with our optimal physical, cognitive, emotional, and social development. Cumulative evidence that a toxic childhood is a primary causal factor in lifetime emotional instability has been well established. Any number of things can generate a negative core belief. Our parents are controlling or do not provide emotional validation. We are subject to bullying or a broken home. These then lead to our fears and anxieties that generate our automatic negative thoughts. The disturbance can be real or imagined, intentional or accidental. A toddler who finds their parental quality time interrupted by a phone call can feel a sense of abandonment, which can then generate core beliefs of unworthiness or insignificance. Now, this is important when it comes to attributing blame or accountability for our disorder, because of the possibility no one is responsible, and certainly never the child. The disorder senses our vulnerability and onsets in adolescence, and a combination of genetic and environmental factors drive most disorders. So core beliefs remain as our belief system throughout life. They mold the unquestioned underlying themes that govern our perceptions. And even if a core belief is irrational or inaccurate, it still defines how we see the world. And when we decline to question our core beliefs, we act upon them as though they are real and true. Core beliefs are rigid and exclusive, especially in individuals with social anxiety, because we tend to store information consistent with negative beliefs and ignore evidence that contradicts them. Social anxiety disorder generates a cognitive bias, a subconscious error in thinking that leads us to misinterpret information, impacting the rationality and accuracy of our perspectives and decisions. Negative core beliefs fall within two categories: self-oriented, I am unlovable, I am stupid, and other-oriented, you are unlovable and you are stupid. Individuals with self-oriented negative core beliefs view themselves in one of four ways. We feel helpless, we feel hopeless, we feel unlovable, and or we feel worthless. People with other-oriented negative core beliefs view others as demeaning, dismissive, malicious, and manipulative. We tend to blame others for our condition, avoiding personal accountability, which causes us to avoid situations we perceive as potentially dangerous. These beliefs can lead to fears of intimacy and commitment, an inability to trust, debilitating anxiety, codependence, aggression, feelings of insecurity, isolation, a lack of control over life, and a resistance to new experience. So we accumulate negative core beliefs due to childhood disturbance and other early life experiences. And these heavily influence our intermediate beliefs, which are developing our adolescence. The onset of our disorder aggravates our negative self-beliefs and image, which generate the fears and anxieties of a situation that form our automatic negative thoughts. Now, intermediate beliefs are the go-between our core beliefs and our automatic negative thoughts and image. And despite similar core beliefs, we each have varying intermediate beliefs because they develop by way of our social, cultural, and environmental experiences, the same things that make up our personality. Now, intermediate beliefs establish our attitudes, rules, and assumptions. Attitude refers to our emotions, beliefs, and behaviors. Rules are the principles or regulations that influence our behaviors. And our assumptions are what we believe to be true or real, which in the case of certain disorders, are irrational and cognitively distorted. Dysfunctional assumptions caused by our negative intermediate beliefs and consequential to our negative core beliefs are irrational. And their emotional impact is so great that our dysfunctional assumptions run roughshod over any healthy, rational response. Challenging and moderating our ants is a process of revelation, evaluation, and implementation. Now, we've established 9 steps to moderating our fears of a situation. We identify the situation. We identify the associated fears. We unmask the corresponding ants. We examine and analyze our fears and corresponding ants. We generate rational responses. We reconstruct our thought patterns. We create a plan to challenge the feared situations. We practice the plan in non-threatening, simulated situations. Then we expose ourselves to the feared situation. So, as we advised in our introductory video, the process of proactive neuroplasticity is theoretically simple, but challenging due to the commitment and endurance required for the long-term repetitive process. I mean, we don't put on tennis shoes and advance to Wimbledon without decades of practice with racket and balls, and Philharmonics obviously cater to pianists who've spent years at the keyboard. So neural restructuring requires a calculated regimen of deliberate, repetitive neural information that is not only tedious, but also fails to deliver immediate tangible results, causing us to readily concede defeat and abandon hope in this era of instant gratification. However, once we initiate the process, utilizing the tools and techniques provided by a comprehensive recovery program, progress is exponential. You can feel it. I'm Dr. Robert F. Mullen, and I thank you for your participation.